Okay, so it is Sunday evening. So you get my weekend look. Um, so we just finished Madison, War of 1812, nationalism, Treaty of Ghent. Okay. Um, we know that the war had started this because of the Embargo Act. It did have one good thing about it. It started the nation to or it fueled the nation to find ways to make their own goods. So it's going to actually fuel industrialization in America. Okay. So we just finished all that and we're looking at the era of good feelings. And that's what it sounds like. I mean, it's not a bad era, but it ends in the Panic of 1819. Okay. Um, it starts after Madison has filled his terms and Monroe comes in. He's very, very popular. Very popular. Okay. James Monroe's president, spirit of nationalism, optimism, and goodwill. Things aren't as good as they seem, but overall, I mean, we weren't at war with Britain. And we are looking at creating this American culture, and we see this in the era of good feelings. Okay, but there are debates over tariffs, the national bank, and there's internal issues, state to state issues. Then we start to see this sectionalist tension over slavery. Okay, it's going to emerge with the cotton gin. um, the cotton gin fuels slavery. Okay, the cotton gin takes the seeds out of the cotton, whereas slaves were having to hand do that, and it's very difficult if you've ever tried to do that. And the cotton gin made that easier, so it's actually going to push the South to own more slaves because now they can do more than get seeds out of cotton. All they got to do is run the cotton gin machine. So the Federalist Party is gone. We're going to see that the Democrat Republicans are going to split in two. Okay, so one party won't last very long, as we know. Can't last too long. So James Monroe, let's look down here. Y'all know he was a soldier in the Revolutionary War. He was a Virginian population. He's part of that Virginian dynasty, the 4 out of 5. Adams was from Massachusetts, I believe. Um, but majority of the first presidents were from Virginia. He was Thomas Jefferson's minister to Great Britain, Madison's Secretary of State. He represented the growing nationalism. Okay, he was a war hero, so that fueled him. Under him, we got Florida. We're going to see the Missouri Compromise, and we're going to see foreign affairs with the Monroe Doctrine, one of the most important items that comes out of this era. Go back up, young Americans, and I put hearts. They love James Monroe. He actually would have gotten 100% of the electoral college, um, all the votes, but they didn't. They wanted George Washington to go down in history as being the only person, so somebody voted against him on purpose. So they're going to favor Monroe. They desire to expand west. That's going to be very important to them. They're not concerned with foreign politics, European politics, and they're fervent, like vehement nationalists, pride for our country, we're the best kind of thing. culture nationalism is what we're going to see emerge. Thought the country was in unlimited prosperity. Mm, not so much. And we'll see how that kind of blunders down. You'll see patriotic themes infused in every aspect, like art to education to entertainment to architecture. That's what ARC means. You're going to see these um, artists actually have American artists that are going to actually paint the heroes. Stewart, Peele, and Trumbull. Do you have to remember all those names? No. But it's something I do want you to see. Peele is the one that'll probably show up the most on standardized testing if it were to show up. Expanded school systems. So we're going to start to see, and if you think about this, like, we're not the only country in the world, but, there's not every country educates everybody like America. Like, we take that for granted. That's American trait that we educate everyone, and it's mandated. I mean, you won't get your license if you drop out before you turn 18. So, um, so this is kind of where this starts, because we start to see that public education gets expanded. Noah Webster is going to be the main person that does that. Parson Weems, you're going to see some fiction, some American fiction about George Washington as a hero, fiction biography of George Washington, that sort of thing. Okay. And, like, you're like, why does that matter? Well, it shows nationalism. It shows that, we're starting to put our stamp on the world as to being American. Okay? Economic nationalism. Okay, this is going to parallel. So they run together. This is perpendicular. I mean, it would be a different time period. This means it goes on at the same time. Okay, building roads and canals. A lot of local roads and canals will be built by the states, but they try to protect U.S. industries from European competition. Okay, so we're going to want to Americanize and provide for ourselves, and then turn around and make enough to provide for other people. During war, factories were built to supply goods previously bought elsewhere. That's going to be, we talked about that at the very beginning. So this is going to just continue. We're going to see the first protective tariff. That means it's a tax on imports. So we're protecting American goods. So if someone goes to the store to buy some markers, and this marker is from China, and this marker is American, the China marker is going to cost more than the American marker. So which marker are you going to pick? The American marker. Okay, that's what our protective tariff is. It protects our companies because people buy the things that are cheaper, or most of the time. So we'll look at the American system. Notice that's the title right there. Henry Clay here's Henry Clay over here. He's from Kentucky. Well-known dude that never becomes president. He was actually in the House of Representatives. We're going to talk about him a lot, him and John C. Calhoun. But first is Henry Clay. His goal was to expand the U.S. expand the U.S. with economic growth. Okay, Monroe is going to he's going to disagree with him. He disagrees with federal funds for roads, so he vetoes anything that gives federal money for roads. But Clay's American system will be very popular, and it will be effective. So it has three parts: protective tariffs, we talked about those markers, to promote U.S. manufactured to raise revenue. He They start the Second National Bank. Of course, there's going to be a debate there. We'll talk a lot more about the National Bank with AJ, Andrew Jackson. But basically, he wants the bank because he wants things to stay smooth and keep a national currency because that's important when you're trying to make money. No, sorry. Internal improvements, these are transportation systems and such, okay? Canals, and remember that highways are roads that run in the state, but interstates run, you know, to different states. So, we're going to start to see those things emerge. Really more with railroads. So I showed you the railroad will push for, because, what are you going to drive on a road right now? A horse and buggy? That's about it. So railroads we will see that those will become a a big transportation commodity at first before roads, because you got to get the Model T, which it's got to come through, and it's going to be not really be it's almost the 1900s before Model T comes out. So we got to have something to drive on these roads other than a horse and a buggy. So tariffs are going to benefit the East. You remember the East is the manufacturing and all of that. Internal improvements promote growth in the West and the South. And the bank is going to aid the economy. So the Second National Bank is going to cause something Laura's fault. The Panic of 1819. Banks close, bankruptcies, and imprisonment for debt. I think that will be the last time that we do that. Most severe in the West because they don't have as much connection to the world, so they kind of get left out all the time at this point because they're not connected. Well, they are, but it takes forever to get there. Think about the Oregon Trail and things like that. I mean, it just takes forever. So, it's going to shake our nationalistic feelings, but it's also going to, make those feelings seem less prophetic, like less imaginary. They're going to be truthful. You're going to feel for America, even though times are hard. Does that make sense? So we'll see that it lasts through bad times too. Okay. And that will stick with everybody. So, we will pick up tomorrow with this the next time I see you, not tomorrow, the next time I see you. So check you later. I'm pushing the button. You can stop watching. It's just not working. There it goes.